Hi everybody. So I wanted to come on here and give you a little bit of a taste of what my tarot readings are like. And I'm going to be doing a lot more collective readings on here. So you get to know me, you get to know my style, and also just a free way to get a nice reading. For these collective tarot readings, it's just kind of pulling what's the general energy that's going on. So just take what resonates with you, leave the rest. And sometimes what comes up in the readings may not make sense right now, but they may make sense in maybe a couple weeks from now or in the future at some point. I know sometimes I'll get a card and I'm just like, that's not right. There's no way that's right. And then 3 weeks later, I'm in the card. Like, I'm in the energy of the card. So yeah, here we go. Welcome to my home, and I'm excited to dive right in. And just a little reminder, I'm doing a special every month for the full moon, which is $30 for 4 cards specifically for the full moon, to kind of go over what cycles you are coming out of, what you're stepping into in your life, and anything that's going to help you through that process. So here we go. I'm using the Smith Rider-Waite deck, which I use for all of my public readings, and I read publicly at Sage and Stone every weekend if you want to meet in person. So here we go, just asking for everyone watching to just make sure you are fully present. So if you're driving or doing something else, come back to this video later when you have a little bit more quiet time. I always invite in some tea. I'm drinking rose, yarrow, licorice, and blue lotus. Very, very good stuff. So just take a moment to tune into your breath, close your eyes, just take a couple deep breaths in and out. Calling in all healed, highest light ancestors, guides, angels who want to help communicate crystal clear messages today. And even though you're watching this at a later time, we're still in the same vibrational space together. All right, so I'm going to draw 3 cards for my basic spreads. It's the immediate past, what cycle you're coming out of right now. The immediate present, which is what are you in, what are you stepping into right now, what are the lessons of the present moment, and then what is this all leading you toward here in the near future. So tarot reading is not about future telling. It's not about, telling you what you should do. It's just messages from above that come in different archetypes and artwork and things like that, that's going to really help you understand and actually give you a little bit more comfort of why you might be feeling a certain way. Or I usually get the cards and I feel a little bit of relief, like, oh, that's how I'm naming how I'm feeling right now. So it's really, really helpful. It's actually fun to do this as well, so just take it with a light heart. And this can also be very deep work as well if you're moving through some grief or big life changes. All right, so here we go. So just notice any colors, thoughts, intuitions, sensations that might be coming up during this reading. You can always keep a notebook nearby or revisit this at a later date. And so we're coming into this really powerful full moon on Halloween, on Samhain, full moon in Taurus. The energy right now is very, very intense. Very, very intense. So just be very gentle with yourself. If you're like me and you need to kind of be a hermit right now, that's okay. That's all right, especially if you're sensitive. There's nothing wrong with gently giving yourself some boundaries and some time to integrate and to really be with the energies, because if you really are with the energies, you're really present, it's so much easier for them to transmute and to change. so that you're not trying to distract yourself or push the energy away, because what happens is it's not going to change. It's going to keep coming back around to find you, you know, in the future. So it's like, if it's showing up, the kindest thing you could do is just be with it. And then it's so much easier to work itself out or to change pretty quickly when you really just allow for that presence, you allow for that surrender. Okay, beautiful. Yep. Okay, so we have in reverse the Seven of Swords, and it came out in reverse. So the Seven of Swords, the swords is the element of air. It has to do with our thoughts, our brain chemistry, how we're thinking, our mindset, and things like that. It has a lot to do with worrying. Can be the far end spectrum of it, and the other spectrum of it is a lot of clarity and a lot of trust in the messages that you're receiving and your goals. And so we see this image, and it almost looks like it's this thief who's stealing all these swords, right? Essentially what it is that he or she does not trust what's currently happening, and so he's kind of hoarding all of his stuff and carrying it with him. This is in reverse, which is good news, which means that we're learning how to trust. We're learning how to put down all of our swords. We're learning how to let go of things. I think if there's been any lesson this year, it's just to let go of any expectations that you've had. Because this is the swords, we're talking more about concepts, belief systems, not physical things, although that could be. We're really learning how to take one thing at a time. This year, we've all been in this, a friend put it as this, which I've felt too, this collective winter, this year-long winter, where, you know, we've been kind of forced at home. Our work has changed, right? A lot of things have changed. A lot of things are no longer. So there's been a lot of grief. There's been a lot of uncertainty, just a lot of back and forth with what's going on. And so we're learning that if we need to be adaptable and we need to change our direction at any given moment, we can't be carrying so much. We have to really learn how to trust and really focus on like that one goal, that one vision, that one ideal, and to kind of just leave the rest. It's really this letting go of all these like patterns or beliefs that we held so tightly onto. So this is a really good sign that this is in reverse, because we've learned this lesson. Maybe you're still learning this lesson, and we will continue to learn it. But this invitation to leave behind and not feel like everyone is out to get you, or, you know, we've been in the society of every man, every woman for themselves. And we are learning that this is not a sustainable system at all. So we're learning how to let that go, and we're learning how to come together more simply, more slowly, more to the roots. Like, what does it really, how can we make being human sustainable? How are we going to continue? All right, and then the energy of right now. God, this couldn't be more true. Another swords card. So we have a lot of stuff we're releasing about worries, anxiety, all in the mind. We're learning how to let that go. This is also in reverse. Look at this card. So this is the Ten of Swords. So this is a good sign as well that it's in reverse, because I know for myself, I've really have found myself in a lot of surrender lately. It doesn't mean you have to like what's going on, but we are literally, like, from the outside world, we're being pinned down by all the things that have been holding us back. Everything is getting louder and more intense. And so this card basically is saying that like, he can't move, right? He's totally pinned down. We cannot continue the way that we've been continuing. It's just not possible. We know this by now. If you're watching this, I assume you know this. So if it's in reverse, it's meaning that we've kind of we've really learned how to trust a little bit more, even if it's just a little bit. We're learning that there's a method to this madness, right? We're also learning that we can choose to not have to struggle so much, but to get to that place, sometimes you have to struggle a little bit more to finally release those things that have kind of been on the back burner of your mind, kind of in the background, that you've been maybe pushing away, or you're too busy, or you don't want to look at it. And now everything has come to the forefront, especially right now, especially during Scorpio season. I know for myself, I feel like everything is just right here in front of my face. Like, I can't distract myself. I can't keep running away from it. I can't justify ignoring it any longer. And so this is really this card of surrender. It's really beautiful. It's like how many thoughts, how many ways in which we lived, all the things that are holding us back from a simpler and more loving and more peaceful way of living. Like, how much is that going to take? And so it's basically, this card is like everything is catching up with us now. So we're learning, again, we're learning how to let that go. And this is also the end of a cycle. This is the 10 of Swords, the last number in the Swords card. So we are really learning how to become aware of the thoughts that we're thinking, of the way that we're speaking to ourselves. And we're learning a different way. Okay, let's see what's coming up. Another reverse. So this is a beautiful card. We have the Queen of Pentacles. So this is this is kind of where we're headed into. So we have a lot of this intense sword energy, which is air. Now we're coming into the Pentacles, which is earth. So this has to do more with our physical reality, our body, our job, our home, our animals, whatever, right? Like the material manifested things here on earth. The Queen is the elements of water. So we have earth and water. And the way that I was taught about this card is that it's really this card of self-care. She's the master of self-care. She is not distracted by everything else that's going on, but rather she's really focused. It almost looks like she's looking at a child, right? She's really focused at what needs to be tended to. What is that sacred wound within her, or, you know, in this case, maybe it's the collective wound of everyone. What needs to be tended to. And so it's almost like a wounded animal licking its wounds, you know? It's like they're not going to go hunt. They're not going to go out and go at the pace that they normally would, because there's some things that need to be tended to. So if it's in reverse, it could mean that there's a little bit of resistance to that. I understand that, you know, we've been in this pandemic for almost a year, getting there. And I imagine that things are going to be quite different in the new year, but we're still in the winter time. So it might take a little bit more time to get to a more ramped up pace, to where things are really moving forward. What the secret is that the more you slow down, the more that everything that's been trying to reach you can actually catch up with you. And so there's no guarantee that anything's going to catch up with you. There's no guarantee that things are going to get better. You just have to have that trust. And the best way you could do that is, instead of distracting yourself with the mind or with the internet, that's all air energy, that's all swords, is really to come into more of this earthly space. Connect with the earth. This could mean working with your hands, making something. If you're feeling impatient or hopeless or whatever it is, you don't have to make yourself busier by doing the things that you used to do, by distracting yourself online or looking for a job for 11 hours online, or whatever it is that you normally would go to distract yourself. It's like, can you create something? Can you bake a pie? Can you paint something, write something? Can you turn off all the distractions around you and really focus on one thing at a time? You know, our ancestors, and before there was electricity and technology, they weren't doing 10 things at once. You know, they were drawing, or they were, you know, like out in the fields sowing seeds, or, you know, brushing their child's hair. It was just one thing at a time. The world wasn't so distracting and there wasn't so many options. It's just overwhelming, actually, for our bodies, because our bodies are not made for the way in which we've been living, right? And so when we get to, the good thing about, if you're in a card, it can definitely go right side up again. It's just to allow for that self-care. It doesn't mean you just have to take a bath and forget about your work, right? That's not always self-care. Sometimes it just means that you set boundaries with your device, with other people in your life. Sometimes it means that you start a new hobby or creative hobby that you've been wanting to do. Maybe it's a project or a business that's coming from your heart and your soul that you've been putting off due to fear or lack of time. And so whatever this is, it's just really asking you to tend to that sacred seed. Like, sometimes I see the pentacle, a single pentacle, and I just see a seed. What seed are you wanting to bring into your life? If it's more calm, you have to make changes in your life to do so. You can't just think, I want to be more calm, I want to be more calm. Yes, but you also have to take the action in your day-to-day life, the pentacles, to bring that about, right? You know, if you want more spaciousness in your day, you're going to have to take something else away. Maybe it's deleting your social media accounts half the week, or rearranging your schedule in some way, because this is the most important thing. If we are constantly, like, when we come out of this pandemic, obviously nothing's going to be the same, but if you try to do the things the way you used to do them, or, you know, moving 1,000,000 miles per minute, being angry in traffic, like a lot of coffee, like, I know those are all very stereotypical things, but it's just this, like, it's just this excess of yang energy, excess. And then we're deficient in the yin energy, in the receiving, in the self-care, pleasure, resting, health. You know, I remember in high school, I was exhausted every day. I would, like, fall asleep in my class because I had too much going on. I wasn't getting enough sleep. And I would just, like, pound sodas at night to go do my activity that night, because I was involved in a lot of activities. And I look at that now and I'm like, no wonder I was always sick. I was always sick. Like, every month I was sick. And I drank a lot. And I totally screwed up my body. My anxiety was through the roof, and I covered it up with alcohol and other things. So we don't want to go back there, guys. Like, it's a choice, you know, no judgment. But, like, this is now more than ever, this is this invitation to put your self-care first, right? Put your love, your self-care first. And I'm realizing how long this video is getting, so I'm going to end here. Let's just end with a breath. Inhale. Okay, I just got one card that popped out at me. Knight of Swords. Again, swords. The knight is the speed in which we move. This is the fastest moving card in the whole tarot. But there's a message that Spirit wants to say with this. It's not about going back and moving at the speed in which we were moving before. It's what I said earlier. The more we slow down, and the more we just surrender all the things we should be doing, or all the people we should be getting back to, or checking our email 5 times a day, or whatever that means for you, the more we really put our heart and all of our attention into one thing at a time, just imagine how much more productive you're going to be, how much better quality of work you're going to deliver, how much better your relationships are going to be with your kids, with your friends, whoever, your partner, whatever. So it's saying to us that if you have felt stuck in the past, it's because you have too much going on. In order to move more quickly in the way that your soul wants to deliver your message out to the world, or your medicine out to the world, or overcome those obstacles that you've been dealing with for a very long time, you have to come into that focus, dedication, and self-care. And that can be a fun thing, by the way. And then everything is just going to flow like that. Everything is going to flow. Everything in your life is going to align. So if you try to use your logic too much, it's not going to get you anywhere. All of this is intuition. All of this is spirit speaking through intuition. It doesn't have to make sense. It's just what is lighting up for you in your body as I say these words. What words are really lighting up for you? Okay? All right. So I'm going to end there. Thank you. If you've watched this whole thing, thank you so much. Visit my Patreon and reach out if you'd like your own reading. I love, love, love doing the one-on-ones. We get a lot more in depth and detail into the specific things that you need help with in your life right now. All right, blessings. Thank you.